Hello, 8th grade. Okay, so this is the extension worksheet for Tuesday, August 11th. The first question says find the value of x to make the following equation true. 2 to the x power times 8 equals 2 to the 14th power. I look at this and I'm going to say, okay, well, there's no way I can combine these two terms right here because do they have the same base? No. So I first need to figure out a way to make these two terms have the same base. So I need to convert this term to have a base of 2. So I have 2 to the x power times 2 to some power to get me 8. 2 to what power equals 8? 2 to the third power. So now when I'm multiplying exponents, I know I can combine them by keeping the same base and adding the exponents. So I'll have 2 to the x plus third power equals 2 to the 14th. So now x plus 3 needs to equal 14 in order for this equation to be true. X plus 3 equals 14. What will x equal? Right, x will equal 11. You can do that by subtracting 3 on both sides. We get x equals 11. All right, the second problem is similar. We have 3 to the x power times 9 over 3 cubed equals 3. So again, we need to simplify this so that we can figure out what our x needs to be. But again, I have this issue where not all my terms have the same base, so I need to convert 9 so that it's a number with a base of 3. So I'll have 3 to the x power times 3 to some power. Everything else stays the same. 3 to what power gets you 9? Right, 3 to the second power, which can also be called 3 squared. So I have 3 to the x over 3 to the second power. If we combine these up top, because I am multiplying with the same base, what will I do? Yeah, I'll add my exponents. So I'll have 3 to the x plus 2 power over 3 cubed. All right, so now I need to simplify it once again. Now that I am subtracting my, excuse me, now that I am dividing, I will do what? Right, I'll subtract my exponents. So now I'll have 3x plus 2 minus 3. All right, so I've simplified this as much as I can. So now this exponent has to equal my exponent over here because I have the same base. What's my exponent that goes next to this 3? Yeah, it'll just be a 1. So I'll have x plus 2 minus 3 equals 1. I put parentheses here, but it's actually exactly the same without parentheses. I'll keep them anyway. Okay, so now if I solve this equation, what number can I substitute for x in order for this equation to be true? I'm just going to guess and check to figure this out. I'm going to say, okay, so what number can I put in place of x? So this works out. If I put in 4, I'd have 4 plus 2 minus 3. 6 minus 3 gets you to 3. Okay, so that's too big. It needs to be even smaller. Be 2 plus 2 minus 3 equals 1, and that works. So putting 2 in place of x makes this equation true. So x equals 2. All right, so for this next one, I'm just simplifying this expression. So I'm going to use my order of operations and start by simplifying what's in parentheses. When I'm dividing with the same base, what do? I subtract my exponents. So I'll subtract 2 minus 6. 2 minus 6 is what? Negative 4. So my negative 4 goes in parentheses. I'll rewrite everything else the same way. All right, now I'm going to continue simplifying this part right here. I'm raising an exponent to another exponent. When I do that, what do I do with the exponents? right? I multiply them. -4 times -1 is what? 4. So now I have 2 to the 4th times 2 to the -4th. I guess I simplified this to become that. Last step, we are multiplying with the same base. What do? Add our exponents. 4 plus -4 equals 0. 2 to the 0th power. This is the same as what? Right, this equals 1. Okay, our final problem on this video, the question is circle all of the following that are equivalent to 1/16. Usually I start by simplifying my expression, but because I can't simplify this, I'm going to start this time by looking at my answer choices. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which equals 16. Is 16 the same as 1/16? No. Now I have 4 to the -2nd power. A negative exponent means what? Right, I need to write it as a fraction. Is 1/4 squared the same as 1/16? Yes, it is, because this is 1/4 times 4. So B is correct. 2 to the -4th power, negative exponent means write it as a fraction. 1/2 to the 4th. 2 to the 4th, go ahead, solve it out. What do you end up with? Yeah, you end up with 16. So C is correct as well. We just figured out 2 to the 4th is 16, so that's not the same as 1/16. And finally, we have option E. When you raise an exponent to another exponent, what do? Right, you multiply the exponent. So this is 2 to the -4th power, which we said was equivalent for C. So E is correct as well. All right, go on and finish up the rest of the problems independently, and then I'll go over them in the video once you've completed them. For example, one, I'm not going to go over it because I want to be checking it after you've completed it, but just to give you a little tip, if you're struggling with it, we have 2 cubed times 4 cubed equals, we have 2 cubed times 4 cubed equals 2 cubed times 2 to the n, which equals 2 to the 9th power. Look at this part right here. What does n have to equal to make that equation true? Go on and try problem number 2. All right, so for this one, you should have started by changing the base to 8 and turning it into a number with a base of 2. So we have 2 to the x power times 2 cubed, because 8 is the same as 2 cubed, over 2 squared equals 2 cubed. So then simplify on top by adding your exponents. So you have 2 to the x plus 3 divided by 2 squared equals 2 cubed. You'd end up with 2 to the x plus minus 2 equals 2 cubed. You now know that this has to equal this. You have x plus 3 minus 2 equals 3. This means that x plus 1 equals 3. X has to equal 2. The only way for this equation to be true is if x equals 2. All right, go ahead and try the final problem. All right, for the last problem, circle all the following that are equivalent to 1/25. For A, negative exponent means write it as a fraction, so that is equivalent. For B, this is negative exponent also means write it as a fraction, so it would be 1/5 squared, which is equivalent. 5 squared is not the same. Here, we'd subtract, so you'd have -5 minus -3. We would end up with -5 to the -2nd power, which is the same as B, so it is true. And E, we do the same thing. This can have an exponent of 1, so it's 5 to the -3rd power times 5 to the 1st power. So then we'd add -3 plus 1, and we'd get -2. So the answers are A, B, D, and E. If you are done early, go on ST Math.